Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. This is portfolio update number 189. And what I do is on every Monday morning, today is an exception because we had a holiday yesterday, so it's Tuesday. So what I do is I deposit $100 every Monday, and then I do a buy. And on Mondays, what I do is I use Auto Invest with M1 Finance. And what we're looking at right now, this is my taxable stock brokerage account, my Average Joe Dividends account. And what I mean by Auto Invest is you can see Auto Invest deposits, that is toggled on. And what it's going to do is it's going to put the money to work for me automatically, and it's going to put it into the portion of the portfolio that is underweighted. And you can see here I have the portfolio divided into 3 different slices with ETFs, dividend portfolio, and 12 more dividends. If you're curious to see what's all in this portfolio, I'll leave a link below so you can see the 52 different companies, actually 52 different positions. There's 50 different companies, and there's an ETF and a closed-end fund, and you can see what those are with the link I'll provide in the description. So you can see here what is underweighted and overweighted. You can see the ETFs portion is underweighted. So you can see 62.4 is the actual, and then the target is 63. We're also underweighted with the dividend portfolio portion, but we're overweighted with the 12 more dividends. So the $100 is likely going to go into the ETFs or the dividend portfolio. So let's just take a look at some of the performance of the portfolio here, and I have it at 1 year. And you can see what we started at. We were in the 230s, upper 230s back in late May of 2024. And we've seen some peaks and troughs here where we've gone up in the 250s, down in the 240s, up in the 270s, back down the 260s. You can see it's kind of a roller coaster ride. Here is the high point at 283, and we're not too far off from that right now at 277. But look what happened here in the first week of April, going down to the 240s, then going back into up to the 280s. But what I'm doing is I'm going to dollar cost average into this portfolio, which means I consistently keep on depositing money into this portfolio, and I just keep on buying more and more shares of the companies within this portfolio. We can see, let's take a look at, you can see the market gain of the portfolio over the last year, and we'll take a look at, let's see, here's the money weighted return at 7.76%. You can see the dividends that were paid, $12,176.74. So what I could do essentially is not deposit another dollar into this portfolio and just draw dividends and not sell a single share of anything, and I would get over $12,000 per year from this portfolio just in passive income. Of course, that will always go up as the companies within this portfolio are increasing their dividends. So let's go to the activity log. We're going to see the $100 where it went to. We're going to see what was purchased, and then we're going to go to a Google Doc spreadsheet and see what my next dividends are going to be for the portfolio for monthly, quarterly, annual, as well as the positions where I bought the fractional or whole shares, and see what the next dividend is going to be for each of those. So you can see here, last night I did the deposit of $100, and it looks like it was able to resolve all of it except for a penny. So there was $99.99 of purchases, and it got divided between 3 different buys. And again, these are going to be underweighted positions within the portfolio. So I kind of let M1 do the picking on the Thursday video. Since sometimes I do the video on Wednesdays, depending on time, I pick 5 different companies myself, and I put $20 into each of those. So first up was Exxon. So $27.97 of the $99.99 went into Exxon. I'll click on it. We're going to see how much of a fractional share was purchased. It bought 0.26938 of a share of Exxon, so over a quarter of a share of Exxon purchased there. And then next up is FNF, and then it was $20.33 of the $99.99 went to FNF, and that bought 0.37478 of a share of FNF. And again, we're going to see the next dividend for these three positions all go up. We're going to see the currents, and then once I update the sheet, we're going to see the next dividend, and we'll see how much it's going to go up. So for Fifth Third, this is where most of the money went to. 5169 went to Fifth Third, which is a regional bank there in Ohio. And the quantity purchased there was 1.38176 shares of Fifth Third. So more than a full share of Fifth Third was purchased there. And we're going to go on to my Google Docs spreadsheet. We're going to see the current dividend for those positions and also the rest of the positions in the portfolio. But we're going to pull some information here from the holdings tab. We're going to copy this information where it has the shares, the average share price I've purchased for each position, and the cost basis. You can see here for SCHD, we didn't buy any new shares of SCHD, but we did for the three positions. We're going to copy this data here in a little bit, where it's going to update those shares average price and cost basis for the three positions. It's not going to change these positions here because we didn't buy any fractional or whole shares there for these. So I'm going to walk you through the sheet here. I'll leave a link below to this Google Docs spreadsheet where I track all these positions here, and so I can see what my next dividends are going to be, as well as the total dividends as well. So you can see here it tracks the company ticker symbol, the share price, the average share price I've purchased for each of these positions. You can see it uses a VLOOKUP on the M1 data tab, and we're going to paste the information from here, the holdings tab of M1 Binance. We're going to put it into the M1 data tab down below here, and it's going to update the sheet with the average share price, the number of shares, and the cost basis for all those positions. This can only change those three though, and we can see here's the average, the share price, the total value. Like for SCHD, if I were to sell SCHD, this is what it would sell for. Here's my cost basis. Here's my gain or loss for this position, including the dividends. Here's the percent gain or loss. Anything that is from 0 to 24.999% will be in white. Anything above 25% will be in green. Anything at a loss will be in red. You can see Merck here at a slight loss, but you can see most of the investments are in the green. They're above 25%. Here is the dividend per share. These are all quarterly payers with the exception of O and BST. Those are monthly payers, and SCHD, they change their dividend every quarter, so I put that in purple. It's kind of a wild card. But Q2 usually for SCHD is the largest dividend. Here is the current yield, and then here's the yield on my cost. You can see some of these are going to be different. Like for Allstate, it's a full percentage point higher because I bought my Allstate shares at a much lower rate than what it is now. You can see the average I paid for Allstate is 132.07, while the current share price is at 205.53, and that's what causes that disconnect. Why the current yield is much lower than my yield on cost, because I bought my shares of Allstate at a lower rate, and the inverse is true with like Merck. You can see here's the current share price for Merck is 77.61, but I've bought in at 86.16. So you can see how that works, where I could buy Merck and kind of average it down and buy it at this 4%, while my yield on cost is only at 3.76%. Everything in this sheet, it is arranged by the pay date from the oldest to newest. And right now we're in the month of May, and that's why I have these items right here. They're in this medium green because we are in the second month of Q2, and the Q3 is in dark green, which pays, I have most of my dividend payers are in the the last month of the quarter, and the dark green, which pays the highest for me, is always the last month of the quarter. But here are the dividends that have been paid to me so far. Right here, we'll do a quick count up. In May, I've been paid 175.23, but look what's awaiting me with KKR tomorrow morning. I'll wake up and I'll get that 422 there, and then BST on the 31st, and then Starbucks as well. So I'm waiting for 3 more dividends to close it out, but look at that big one that is expected from BST at 523.35. And you can see here I have the total dividends as well. You can see for SCHD over $8,000 in dividends that have been paid to me. The last increase for SCHD, the average annual, it was over 12% there, and you can see we're going to be due for some dividend increases from NVIDIA. Their last one was 150%, but of course they pay a very small dividend at 1 penny per share. So even if they have a 100% dividend increase, it's going to make it a whole 2 cents for NVIDIA. But we're waiting for dividend announcements for Lowe's. We'll see if they do 5%. Probably not. I'm going to predict like 2-3%, like Home Depot had a really conservative dividend increase. So I don't think Lowe's will do that 5%, but we'll see. And then Apple 4%. I bet they'll do that again. I think a penny is usually what Apple has been doing recently. So I think they'll probably do the same thing. It'll be probably 27 cents will be the next Apple dividend increase. If we want to know what that's going to change, I have almost 16 shares of Apple, so it's going to add about 16 cents of dividend income, 15, 16. So it'll be about $4.30 ish when that next dividend is going to be, and it'll be right here. It'll update over here since I already received $4.15 from Apple on May 16th. And then you can see here the last increase and the increase month it's likely I put there too, so you can see the Mays are what we're expecting. KKR already paid, and they did a 10% dividend increase already. So that was a great increase to see. But what I've done is for the dividend, I hard coded in Fifth Third. That was one of the companies where I bought more shares. And so we're going to see it change over here for the next dividend for Fifth Third and for Exxon. So Exxon, we'll see if we can get them to $13. And then F&F will be the next one. So if we can get to them to $12.50. But I noticed one thing for these purchases, all these pay currently a 3% or better dividend. So this is going to be a good pickup for income. A lot of times though, I have one where it's like a 1%er in there, like Broadcom or NVIDIA, or 0.03%. But today it's going to go up more significantly because you can see Fifth Third, their current yield is 3.93, and then Exxon's at 3.84, and then F&F, which is the lowest of it, is at 3.71, which is it's a very healthy dividend. And I've also put the monthly, quarterly, annual cash flow. This is going to change once we update the sheet. It's going to go up probably like at least by 25-30 cents just with this $100 purchase here, which is it's pretty small, but I'll show you how it's going to make a difference for the next dividends for these 3 companies where we bought fractional shares or whole shares for Fifth Third, and how the cash flow average is going to go up for each of these. So let's go ahead. We're going to grab that data and we're going to put it into the M1 data tab here. And I go over to M1. We'll grab this data here, starting with the name column. And we'll do a copy. I'm going to click on portfolio just so it doesn't time out in case we want to go back to this. But we're going to paste this into the M1 data tab. Paste special, values only, and it's going to update the shares, cost basis, and average share price for only those 3 positions where we bought shares. And we'll go over to the dividend portfolio tab. We'll go through these one by one and we'll see how these have changed. And the first one is Fifth Third. The old dividend was $19.67. The new one now is going to be $20.18. And then next up is Exxon at $12.88. The new one will be $13.15, But the bad news here is I checked on the ex-dividend date. We are past it, so it's not going to be until the September dividend where we get the 13.15 there. But the good news there is we're gonna have an announcement though in October of probably a 4% dividend increase for Exxon, so it's going to go up even higher than that 13.15. So likely it's going to be 12.88 for the next dividend that's going to pay in June. And then finally wrap it up with the increases. So F&F, the old dividend 12.42, new one's going to be $12.61. So you can see kind of bit by bit these little buys here, how it increases the dividends for each of these. So you're wondering, well, how did Pepsi get up to 23.07? Just by buying it bit by bit, piece by piece. And it's just, these just keep going up and up. And also with dividend increases and also dripping those dividends. For example, we can see the dividends so far have been paid are 175.23, but with the drips, we can see it's going to be 177.17. Just with the drips, you can see the effect there of the next dividend going up for each of those. So let's look at the monthly, quarterly, and annual. The old monthly is 1,076.68. We've moved up to now 1,077 even. Quarterly is moving from 32.30.03 to now 32.31 even. And then annual now is moving up from 12.9.2014 to now 12.9.24.02. So we're going to take the monthly cash flow average. We're going to update that on the monthly average dividend tracking tab. So 1,077 even. And we'll put this right here, 1,077. So the effect of the event of a $100 deposit today was an increase of 32 cents to the monthly income. That doesn't sound like much. It isn't much, but that's 32 cents every single month going forward from here on out. And it was only a $100 deposit. And remember now, this will also compound over time as these additional fractional shares we drip those new dividends, and then we have dividend increases on top of those. So it's not going to just be 32 cents every month going forward statically. It's going to be going up as a compound. So over years, this 32 cents could double in 5, 6, 7 years, and that just makes a bigger effect. So it's 32 cents today, but over time though, it's going to go up even more. So I've put in another event that's going to happen tomorrow. Remember, KKR is going to pay that dividend, and I'm going to drip that dividend, and it's going to increase my monthly income even more. It's going to be very small because KKR pays a small dividend, and we'll try to find that. We'll see if they've updated their dividend here, and we'll find them. Of course, I'm not seeing it right away here. We'll just do a find here. There it is. I skipped over it. And there's KKR right there. So yeah, it's right there. Obviously, it's the next one. I should have known it was in order of payment, so it should have been tomorrow at 5:28. But let's go take a look and see. We'll verify that dividend here real quick. And I have that in the 12 more dividends slice. And again, if you're curious to see what's all in this portfolio, I'll leave a link below. There's KKR. I click on it. I go to the 1 month view, and it should show the next dividend. Dividends earned right there at $4.22. So we'll just type this in here. We'll update that. I put the plus, 422 right there. And then now we have a new amount, which is 179.45. We're going to put that over here, 179.45. Trying to count up of the dividends received there. But tomorrow we're going to see this change. It's going to likely just go up by a penny or so, because look at the current yield for KKR is very low at 0.62, but you can see though my yield on cost is over 1%. So we're going to see that go up as well. And again, it's going to change. The monthly cash flow average will likely go up as well. We'll see, unless it doesn't go up a full 3 cents, because it has to divide it by 3 to get the monthly. So we'll see. It may stay static there. It may raise this by a penny, but it may not budge this amount here. We'll see though. Just check in the next video and we'll see what happens. So let's go to the dividend tracker tab, and here is where I keep track of the portfolio value as well as the dividends paid, as well as the average monthly dividend. I started tracking that in May 2021, and we can see how that's gone up and up. I've been tracking the monthly increase, the month over month gain of that with the percentage, as well as the annual dividends, and then the annual increase, and then deposits as well. Before I forget, I'll add the $100 there since we did that deposit. So here is the portfolio value rounded to the nearest $100 at 278. You can see here we had a high right there, February 2025, where we closed the month out at 2,8200. And then here's our dividends, the 179.45, counting KKR in there. Average monthly dividend at the 1,077 even. We've increased that monthly dividend by $4.88 just in the month of May alone, for a 0.46 month over month gain. And here's the annual dividends, almost at 13,000 at 12,924.02. We've increased the annual dividends by 58.58, and here again, here's the deposits at $700. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to close out this video with the total net worth. Looks like we have an issue here. Looks like VU is not pulling the right amounts there. I'll try to refresh it. We'll see if that works, if it can refresh it, and because it's having a problem pulling there, but no big deal. We were at 1.76, I believe, right around there, 1.77. But of course, when it can't pull data from Vanguard, it blows it up. But no big deal. We'll see the update. You can go back to the previous video or just wait for the next video, which will likely be on Thursday. So you want to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that one. But yeah, it's kind of frustrating with the NA because it blows up everything there. But we'll go back to M1. I'll show you again what was purchased. You can see Exxon, FNF, and then Fifth Third. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are buying this week and what you think about these picks. Again, these picks were due to me using Auto Invest, where I let M1 do the picking. It kind of takes the the emotion out of the investing. And actually Exxon, when I first started doing this and doing the Auto Invest, this was back right around like COVID time, and it was buying Exxon when Exxon was in like the $40 range, and it seemed like Exxon was going down, and my emotions were telling me don't buy Exxon because it was going down. It was not a good time. But that's when I really loaded up on Exxon, and here we go again. It's buying Exxon with it going down slightly. So I think sometimes it's good to remove some emotion from your investing. And I'm using emotion, of course, when I'm picking my stocks on the Wednesday, Thursday buy. So I like to do a mixture of that and just buy what's more on sale. So thanks for sticking to the end of this video. If you got value from the video, please click the like button. Also subscribe so you do not miss future videos. Hopefully maybe tomorrow, we'll see, or Thursday, I'll do my budgeting video. I've just kind of procrastinated and put that one off. You'll see my expenses and income in total net worth as of the close of April. So thanks again, everyone. I hope everyone has a great week. Everyone take care.